All right, and we back on the forecast. Now, in Michigan, there was a police officer who was forced to retire after using unreasonable force of use on camera after he put a gun to a brother's head and threatened him after they tased him and had him in handcuffs.
Taser!
Taser! Get off the ground!
I gotta leave the force coverage.
Turn around!
I got him.
On your back!
I got
Put
him.
your hands behind your back. Hands behind your back. What I do?
Put your other hand behind your back.
Hey, my man, hands up.
I got him covered.
Hands up.
This is a gun. If you move, it's possible you're injured. Do not move. That makes sense?
Yes.
Then don't move.
What I do?
Stay right
Going to jail now.
What I do? Oh, that hurt, bro.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, what I do?
Didn't listen to us.
What I do?
All right, Kevin.
What I do, man? Oh, man, that hurt it, man.
Get off the ground!
Oh!
Turn around!
Back up.
On your back!
Put your hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
Bro, what I do?
Put your other hand behind your back.
Man, hands up.
I got him covered.
Hands up.
This is a gun. If you move, it's possible you're injured. Do not move. That makes sense?
Yes.
Don't
What
move.
are you doing, dude?
What I do?
Stay right
Going to jail
there.
now.
What I do? Oh, that hurt, bro.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, what I do?
Didn't listen to us.
What I do?
All right, Kevin.
What I do, man? Oh, man, that hurt it.
Now, they say that this brother was suspected of committing a robbery. In other words, he fit the description. And he was on the ground saying, "What did I do? What did I do?" And they said, "Well, you didn't listen to us." Because this is what happens when you do not listen to the police. Never mind that it violates police protocols. Now, the thing is, this incident looked very similar to what happened to the football player Michael Bennett when he was thrown on the ground asking, "What did I do? What did I do?" with a gun to his head being threatened. But even though that brother is in the NFL and a millionaire, it was still justified what the police did. So we know with this brother who is not in the NFL and is not a millionaire, it's definitely justified.
I gotta leave the force coverage.
Turn around!
I got him.
On your back!
I got him.
Put your hands behind your back.
The Kent County prosecutor has decided not to charge a Grand Rapids police officer who held a gun to a suspect's head while he was on the ground, already handcuffed. Moments ago, 24-Hour News 8's Heather Walker spoke with the prosecutor about why he made that decision. She joins us live from Grand Rapids from police headquarters with an update. Heather?
Well, the prosecutor says there just wasn't evidence that a crime was committed. Why wasn't he charged?
Well, I think if you look at my statement in terms of what happened there, it's kind of hard to just pick him out. You have two officers both pointing their guns. So one standing a few feet away and one actually makes contact with his head. Given all the circumstances, you know, one's an assault, one's not.
Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker says the circumstances don't allow for any criminal charges. The officers were called to an attempted armed robbery. And when they arrived, the suspect was not cooperating.
Put your hands on your head. Hands on your head, man.
At that point in time, they didn't know he was armed. You know, it's hard to say that's any sort of assault with a dangerous weapon or even an assault and battery for what occurred there.
Get off the ground!
The suspect in this case was not harmed. He had no bruises or cuts. In fact, he didn't even file a complaint.
All right, Kevin.
What I do, man?
It was Penn's fellow officers who sparked the internal investigation.
Completely offensive, but to say it's a criminal matter, I don't think it was.
Now, Prosecutor Becker says if more evidence becomes available, Penn could be charged in the future. Another big concern here, if you missed our story at 5:30, the ACLU is bringing up the fact that in the state of Michigan, there's really nothing without a criminal conviction. There's really nothing preventing Penn from getting a job at another police department and doing this to someone else.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you got when it's somebody with a gun to the back of your head and a knee in your back. They don't care if you're a millionaire or not. They still see you as the same. And then owners like Jerry Jones say if you do anything to quote-unquote disrespect the flag, that you will be fired.
White supremacy, and you want to treat them like $40 million slaves. Gladiators who are well paid to beat each other's brains out, but have to keep their mouths shut when talking about injustice. Look at the videos of the police getting away with murder and tell me that the players are wrong to protest it and that they have no rights to do that. People need to take a knee against white supremacy, and people need to stand up against you and your buddy Donald Trump and drive his whole regime out, and it begins November 4th.
Of course, none of this stuff has ever been about the flag. Colin Kaepernick himself, the very moment it happened, and the first time they brought it up, said, oh, no, of course not. It's not about the quote-unquote military, as they like to say. He said this is about the injustices. But Jerry Jones says if you disrespect the flag, then you off his team. But it's no secret that if the players were to get fired or if they were to just walk off the team, then the Cowboys would never win another game. And if all the black players around the league, especially the ones that agree with what Colin Kaepernick did, if they just left, the NFL as a league wouldn't exist. And they would actually be able to put together their own league, and they would be the billionaire owners in control of what goes on. But we never really take that leap. At some point, we're going to have to face the truth and take back control of ourselves, control of our own destinies. There are no loopholes that are going to save us. And no disrespect to my brothers and sisters, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody's beliefs, but changing our names isn't going to change our circumstances. First, you build a nation and you build an army, and then you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. But us debating over names at this point in time is not going to help anything. If you call yourself black, you on the list. If you call yourself Hebrew, you're on the list. If you call yourself Moor, you're on the list. If you call yourself indigenous, we know what they've done to all the indigenous people around the world. It didn't matter what they called themselves. They called themselves by their proper names, but they still were slaughtered. They were still raped. The people that we call Indians today, that the government recognizes the treaties that they have with them, and they still violate those treaties right now. They are building pipelines through the lands that they agreed on right now. And listen, I'm sure a lot of us suffer from some sort of Stockholm syndrome. But what we call ourselves will not change anything. At some point in history, back in the 1600s, if you called yourself a Moor, you may have had an argument. If you say you were a Christian, you may have had an argument. In 1619, when our people first came over here, they didn't exactly come as slaves. A lot of people came as indentured servants, where they worked a certain time, and after they were done, they would get land or money or some kind of compensation. And the people that were slaves could actually get freedom by going to court and arguing, I'm a Christian now. I've accepted the ways of the Englishmen. And the courts will actually give them freedom. But ever since they started passing laws in the 1660s, the 1670s, 1680s, that sovereign citizen stuff does not work. They see us all as the same. And your personal beliefs are one thing, and your personal beliefs is your personal beliefs. That's your business. But to me, preaching all that sovereign citizen stuff is dangerous. That's what got the sister Corin Gaines shot. That's what got her son shot. That sovereign citizen stuff didn't save her life. It only escalated the situation.
Alright, that's cool, we're out. I gotta deal with this.
Make sure you record everything.
And wait to watch the baby, bro. Watch the baby.
Exactly. I'll put her down.
Here, come on,
you had that option already?
The 23-year-old mother who was shot and killed by Baltimore police may have believed in a complicated doctrine that is anti-government and dates back to the 18th century. On August 1st, Corinne Gaines reportedly holed herself up in her Baltimore home, refusing police entry. The reason the police were there in the first place is still sketchy. Initially, it was reported that the 23-year-old mother was being served a warrant for a failure to appear in court, and now news has come out that police were serving an arrest warrant. The police claim she pointed a shotgun at an officer during the initial encounter, which escalated the incident. While the story of exactly what happened is still unfolding, what we do know is this: Gaines was shot and killed during the incident, and her 5-year-old son was wounded. What's left behind is a social media puzzle of clues as to who Gaines may have been before her fatal encounter with police. Videos posted on social media show a woman who might have been a sovereign citizen. It's important in this heightened police climate that we stay informed. While the waters of sovereign citizenship are murky, with the doctrine dating back to the 18th century, below is a brief synopsis of the movement that law enforcement agencies have identified as one of the largest domestic terrorist threats in the U.S. What is a sovereign citizen? A sovereign citizen is a person who holds complex anti-government beliefs and doesn't believe in government-ordered practices like paying taxes or registering a car with the state. Sovereigns also believe that by denouncing their citizenship, ripping up their social security card, and refusing to pay taxes or register their vehicle with the appropriate state, they are no longer ruled by federal law. J.J. McNabb, who has studied the phenomenon for over a decade, told CBS that a sovereign citizen has a twisted sense of history, and he thinks that people who lived in the 18th century were free of all legal constraints, and they want to return to that time now. The Southern Poverty Law Center notes that the majority of sovereign citizens are African American, but that the origins are rooted in racist, anti-Semitic beliefs. Sovereigns often destroy all forms of documentation, including driver's licenses, license plates, vehicle registration, and social security numbers, and believe that in doing so, they are absolved from being under federal rule. Most have a skewed view of what the government can and cannot do and challenge those who impose what they consider to be unjust laws. They've been known to use archaic and oftentimes misinterpretation of laws to justify their position. Was Corrin Gaines a sovereign citizen? Possibly.
But instead of talking about names and debating on things we disagree on, we need to be building on the solutions that we do agree on, because we can all agree that we are in a situation right now that calls for us to be urgent. They are killing not only men, they are killing our women, and they are killing our children. And if we can't agree that our children's safety and success in the future, being in control of their own destiny, is more important than anything, if we can't agree on that and talk about solutions based on that, then we are in a lot of trouble. Once we build a nation and an army to protect ourselves, because their power does not come from what they call themselves. Their power comes from putting their money into the military, into the army, into guns, into building nuclear weapons and making sure that nobody else has weapons. They could care less what they call themselves. So until we build a nation and an army that can protect us and to protect the things we build, it don't matter what we call ourselves. We can have all of these debates once we build those things.
Okay. What have I said?
Take your time. Start from the beginning.
Okay. So, the police kicked the door down, and then I was hiding in the closet, and then my mother fell down out, and then I was hiding in the closet, and then Corinne was hiding in the door. So Carson was hiding in the door was fault. So my mom didn't want me to come out, so I come out, and then I had my camera. Because it's just home, because I left it behind. So my mother said back off, and then she didn't say back up. So the police said, please back up. And then they started shooting. and I went in the couch. And then the police just took me with her, and she died. P.M.
So they shot my sister?
Yes.
And they shot you too?
Yes. Because they saw me run, and then they hurt my arm.
So they shot you on purpose?
Yes. It's a toy gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was sitting next to my mother, and then I was sitting next to my mother, and then we was sitting right there, and then the police didn't let us go to our rooms. So Kareem was gone, so he took Carson. So
he tried to take you with him?
Huh?
He wanted you to go with him?
No, I wanted to stay with my mother.
No, but Kareem wanted you to go with him?
Yes.
What you say, no?
No, I was just standing there. And then I wanted to have a new phone because he coming to give me a new phone.
So what happened? You ain't finished telling me the story.
Oh. So we sneak in the bathroom.
A former Minneapolis police officer has been charged with assault for kicking a man in the head.
Prosecutors say that man was on his hands and knees, and the kick caused facial and brain injuries. Our Reg Chapman joins us with more on this former officer. Reg?
Well, Frank, ex-MPD officer Christopher Ryder is charged with third-degree assault in connection with that incident that happened in May of 2016. Ryder is accused of using deadly force in a situation where it was not needed. And this is not the first time this ex-officer has been investigated for use of excessive force. According to the criminal complaint, officers were sent to a Minneapolis apartment on reports of a domestic assault. When officers got there, they learned the suspect was sitting outside the building in a car.
He was in his car. He was asked to exit the car. He did. He was told to get on his hands and knees. He did. And they want him to go prone and lie on his stomach. And all of a sudden, Ryder comes around the corner and kicks him in the face.
The incident was investigated by St. Paul police to avoid conflict, but it was the testimony of officers on the scene that helped produce a third-degree assault charge for Ryder.
All three stated that the situation did not call for a kick in the face, which is considered under the law use of deadly force.
Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman says he has charged 5 Minneapolis police officers in the past 5 years on various charges. He says Ryder's name has crossed his desk at least once.
Prior incidences, I'm aware of them, but I had to put them aside in making the charging decision. We make charging decisions based on the facts of this case and not what happened in the past.
He came into my house and 3 years ago, jumped on me.
Community activist Al Flowers says Ryder is the officer who attacked him in his home in July of 2014. Flowers says he was beat for asking for a warrant when Officer Ryder appeared at his door looking for his daughter.
What are you coming to get her for? And when I did that, then I was attacked. I was beat really bad.
That case was recently settled out of court for $25,000. A warrant has been issued for Ryder's arrest. He is expected to turn himself in later tonight or tomorrow, Frank.
And will these other police officers supposedly testify against him?
Well, that remains to be seen. We'll see once he is in custody, and we'll see what happens with the court case.
I have a question. My question is, how many jets do you have, and how would I advise you flight attendants?
I think she's hired. You're hired. Now, I have a case. It's very interesting. A beautiful girl who was 17 or 18 applied to be a waitress. She's so beautiful. She's like a world-class beauty, like the young lady who just asked a question about the actress. She's so beautiful. And my people came, she said, well, Mr. Trump, she has no experience. So I interviewed her anyway, because she was so beautiful. And I said, let me ask you, do you have any experience? She goes, no, sir. I said, when can you start? You can work at my plant anytime. Hey. See, now, she worked at my plant. That's like a death wish for me, right? That's like an alcoholic. I have many friends that wonderful people. They're alcoholics. You put scotch in front of them. It's like, this would be my form of alcoholism. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Well, all right. May I call you Hillary?
Yes, you may.
Okay, Hillary. I want to share something with you that I haven't shared with anyone. And it's a song that I want to sing to you.
Oh, great.
It was written by Bruce Springsteen 16 years ago. And it means a lot to me because of just everything that's taking place now. I just want to share it with you because I believe that so many women, African-American women, feel like this as they're sending their children off to school in the morning. So, if you don't mind.
I'd love that.
I hope I can sing right because I'm nervous.
Oh, you can, you can.
Okay. "41 shots, Lena gets her son ready for school. She says, now on these streets, Charles, you gotta understand the rules. If an officer stops you, always be polite and never ever run away. Promise mama you'll keep your hands inside. Is it a gun? Is it a knife? Is it a wallet? This is your life. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. No secret, my friend, you can get killed just for living in your American skin. Oh. Hillary, thank you.
Oh, Mary. Oh, Mary.